Well, let's continue our build-up to the Johannesburg city finally or finally not getting another mayor. Former multi-party coalition partners have been meeting to try and find some common ground and the right candidate to lead the country's economic hub. Let me just remind you again, it was this last Tuesday that the council failed to elect Tapelo Ahmed's successor following his very abrupt resignation. Some big names have been thrown around. Let's unpack those big names with a host of On the Spot and regular political analyst waking up nice and early for me for the resumption of the South African morning. Lukhona, Mnguni, hello to you. So who exactly is winning here? Because I know for a fact, tell me if you agree, the people that aren't winning are the residents of Johannesburg.
Well, good morning, Gareth, and good morning to our dear viewers at eNCA. It's quite concerning in terms of where we are in the city of Johannesburg. And I'm saying where we are because I'm also a resident in the city of Johannesburg. And when you look at the, unfolding events, they don't give you much confidence that the city is gravitating towards a point of seriousness in terms of how it is governed, who governs it. It's still the political jockeying that is taking place. And if you were to ask me who wins and who loses out, definitely the politicians get to win. There are people who would never have conceived of themselves to be executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, looking after tens and tens of billions of rands of a budget, who have been appointed into that prime position of executive mayor. And I think it's also about how political parties have relegated local government, Gareth, into a position of, it's positions that don't really matter. They don't feel that they are visible enough. But I think that because of the instability and the continued uncertainty in terms of who leads in these positions, executive mayors in the metropolitan areas particularly have become very, very prominent and newsworthy in terms of highlighting the problems that can be inherent in coalition governments, in terms of highlighting the problems that can be inherent in terms of weak coalition arrangements. And I think the city of Johannesburg is a prime example of that. And where I am seated, I think that the politicians continue to benefit at the detriment of the citizens, service delivery, and some stable governance that should be in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want, you could almost use Johannesburg as a litmus test, couldn't you, for the 2024 general elections, Lukhona, as well? Because if this is how messy it's getting, and I've actually lost track how many mayors we have. I think this is now the 5th or 6th. Last mayor to finish their term was Parks Tau, of course. Not a good look for the 2024 general elections. I'm going to leave this as my last question to you for now, Lukhona. How does the ANC react to this? Because let's just remind viewers of the 3 candidates today, one from the DA, one from the Patriotic Alliance, one from Action SA. I would imagine the ANC is sitting back busy watching this mess unfold, just waiting to capitalise on the disorganisation and capitalise, more importantly, for next year's elections.
Well, Gareth, I don't think that the ANC is a bystander to all of this. They've partly orchestrated the chaos. And I think that if you were to be honest about it, one of the candidates that you have mentioned is supported by the ANC. What the ANC is unwilling to do in the city of Johannesburg, it seems, is that it doesn't want to have a situation where it fields a candidate, and that candidate must be accountable for whatever shortcomings that would visit Johannesburg in the lead up to the 2024 elections. And it seems to be an interesting strategy that has been adopted in Gauteng, which of course doesn't augur well with the guidelines published by David Makura and his team and, tabled to the National Executive Committee of the ANC a few weeks ago. And what that means is that the ANC is abdicating on the duty to lead so that it can have a better narrative to tell about its situation in Gauteng and in the metros, where it would probably abdicate and say, look, we are not in charge, we are part of a coalition arrangement, we were outmuscled in terms of conversations, and these small parties are leading, and they don't know what they are wanting to do.
And there's
But
the
I
problem
do
right
think
there,
that
Lukhona. I was going to jump in very quickly as I say goodbye to you, and there's the issue as well, briefly, is the smaller parties don't seemingly know what they want to do. So let me ask this then, very briefly if you can. Essentially, the 2024 elections could be handed to the ANC because of the disorganisation by every other party. Is that a fair statement? That's what a lot of people are saying.
It is a possibility in terms of the disorganization of opposition politics that people may find, and I find this in my own research, Gareth, people say better the devil you know than the devil that you don't. But I must say, if Gayton Mackenzie were to emerge as the mayor of Johannesburg, it would add an interesting spanner in the works, because what he has been able to do well is retail politics and what we might call performative politics. And a stage such as the city of Johannesburg could give him much more publicity in terms of what he gets up to, in terms of how he gets to show up. And that could actually injure political parties such as the Democratic Alliance, particularly in the colored votes community.